Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're talking about something that is less sexy than camera and lenses. We are talking about tripod heads and legs. Specifically, this brand new $1 tripod head and legs from Sirui. And we're gonna compare a few things real quick, so let's get into that right now. Okay, let's just put it out there in the open. Good tripods and good tripod heads are very expensive. A lot of people oftentimes don't even buy them and run with cheap tripods forever because they're just oftentimes such large purchases up front. Even though the tripod is one of the best investments you can make because you can take it out and charge on every single job you're on, because realistically, let's face it, your tripod will probably be used on every job. So if you can't commit to an expensive tripod, however, we're gonna show you this new alternative from Sirui. So first up, let's go to something on the cheap side like this Manfrotto Nitrotech 612 on their standard legs that come with it. Now this package is almost $1,600 retail. They claim it has a load capacity of 33 pounds with a fluid counterbalance capacity of 26 pounds. We tested that, that's not true, which we'll get into later. But this right here is something that, I've seen a lot on sets, and we have a couple here because a lot of times people will use these with mirrorless cameras, and for a lot of stuff, it is just fine. But if you ever want to put something larger on this, if you rent a camera, this just really isn't going to suffice in a number of ways. Now, going to the other side of the spectrum to something that is kind of industry standard, we're looking at a Sockler Video 20 here with Sockler's carbon fiber legs and mid-level spreader. Now, this is the older model of the Video 20, but the new version of the Video 20 with the same legs retails around $13,000. Now that is a ton of money. It's crazy to be like, I could get a Kia for the same price as a tripod. But this thing has a 55-pound load capacity, and its tilt and counterbalance things are pretty wild, and you can stick a pretty decent camera package on here and still have loads of counterbalance capability to balance out your rig, which just means you're gonna have smoother camera operation when you are operating from the tripod. Now, if you look at this tripod, which has a 33-pound load capacity with a very similar amount of counterbalance, and these carbon fiber legs that are very similar to Sockler's Flowtex, what would you think this would run just comparing the two? If you said somewhere in the middle, you'd be wrong. If you said, well, maybe a little less, you'd still be wrong. If you said, well, it's gotta be at least as cheap as the Manfrotto, well, you'd still be wrong. This is $1,200, $400 cheaper than this Manfrotto. And it is infinitely better in almost every single way. It almost is as good as this Sockler, and we're gonna show you that here real quick. Now, just a top level overview. These legs are all carbon fiber. You can unlatch them, go up and down. Works very similar to the Flowtex. You slap them closed. It does have 3 stages of width, so you can get very, very, very flat to the ground, which is very nice. It's a 75mm bowl head, so you can adjust and get your level, but also it's a half bowl, so you can screw off the top if you want. Once it's locked here, I can show you that. This can come off, so if you're mounting on something like a slider, you can just thread directly into it, which is also very, very, very useful because a lot of times all the heads you can get to go on sliders kind of suck. So that is a big benefit here as well. Not to mention that it has 7 stages of fluid drag on both pan and tilt, and the lock is actually a very good locking system. You'll see sometimes if you put close to capacity on something like a Manfrotto, and you're tilted down or tilted up, when you go to lock, you still get some drift. This is very good in that aspect. Now, the head itself is supposed to be weather resistant, or the fluid that's inside here up to a very, very staggering amount of both heat and cold, so you could pretty much take this anywhere and it's going to operate the same wherever you go. Now, this system only has one weakness. Now right here, this is the mid-level spreader that come with these legs. And in my opinion, this is the only downside of this whole system so far. When these shipped, the collars that are on the legs that these latch into are very, very, very thin. So if you do not follow protocol, if you pack this incorrectly, those collars snap and then they have to send you a brand new leg. It happened here on our second time that we use this. So I would just honestly go without these or never put them on unless you need them for something. And if that's the case, put them on, take them off, but I would never leave these built on your rig. It's just asking for disaster until Sirui maybe puts out an upgrade to these or a better way to lock these to the legs. Now, let's get into just some operational stuff. So we're gonna bring in a camera package here and get into that right now and just show you how well this head performs. All right, today we're here with one of our kind of normal packages, a Alexa Mini LF. Now, we weighed this exact package right here, 22.5 pounds. So, if you can imagine something like an external monitor, rails, a follow focus, maybe a wireless focus, a Teradek, this might be tipping 25.5, 26 pounds maybe with the additional stuff. But right now, you could shoot with this as is. Now, the cool thing about this tripod head is it's got a cool side load, so you don't have to sit there and try to slide things in and out and, look, am I in? Just like drop it in, tap it in, lock it. I love that system. It's always worked well on other brands, so that is a great thing to see implemented here. But I'm just gonna show you really quickly with this just how much action you get on the counterbalance, which is great. So if you go to something here, and this is pretty decently balanced, that's with this is all of the counterbalance, so it'll hold you and give you a nice smooth bounce back as you come in and move. Now, if you want to take this down, you can see just how much this does in fact spring back anywhere you need it, which is really nice. If you put the same camera package on the Nitro Tech, which we tried, it just fully doesn't do anything after you reach a certain point, which is very close to just right off of center. Any amount of tilt, it's gone, it's not coming back. This definitely gives you some very smooth operation. The lock is really nice. Everything locks in pretty well. Same thing with the pan. Now, the only thing on this rig that does make this feel a little bit cheap, and this is just my opinion, is this itsy bitsy little pan handle. If Sirui were to make something that felt a little larger, something like the Sockler pan handles, I feel like that would instantly amplify how solid this feels. It's very kind of cheap, not thick metal. This hand grip is tiny. It feels like, you're just driving something very small and dainty. So outside of that, this whole system is incredibly well built. For the price, I don't know if anything even remotely comes close to competing. If you're looking at something like a Sockler Video 18 or something like an O'Connor 1030 or 1040, I really think that's gonna be more for what this range is going against, and even those rigs are in the like $6,000 to $10,000 range. So if you're trying to save money, I don't think you would even remotely ever be disappointed with all the functionality that this setup gives you. Now, sure, the other brands might give you the ability to service them a little easier as there's some service centers in LA, but for the price, so far, after using this on a couple shoots, I am incredibly thankful that finally a manufacturer is coming in and making cheaper, good tripod legs and heads, because this is what is going to make it more affordable at some point over time for other manufacturers to start lowering prices and making products that are all good in a lower price bracket. So with that, that is the Sirui tripod and head that just came out. If you haven't seen one, go grab one, check it out. And for the price, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So remember, like and subscribe to our channel, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one.